and this is Aunt Tina's Antiques. I wanted to take a quick second to tell you why I named it Aunt Tina's Antiques. Well, I'm an auntie, and I love my nieces and nephews to pieces because they are fabulous. I have some incredible aunts in my life. They're the ones who taught me about vintage jewelry and vintage dishes and antiques and stuff, and I wanted to honor them. And maybe in the same way, I can impart a little bit of wisdom to you. Okay, maybe you're kind of thinking, you know, she's kind of like my aunt that thinks she knows a lot, but she doesn't really. But you still have to be nice to me because I'm a little bit off. Anyway, speaking of aunties, my Aunt Cladellen was the one who started my vintage jewelry collection. And she never paid more than $10 for a piece. She would shop in yard sales and flea markets and estate sales and sometimes antique stores. And she was pretty wise about that because, well, we do have some awesome antique stores, especially here in Pensacola. When we shop online, you can find all sorts of different things online. You're going to find a piece that's going to match the price that you want to pay for it, or hopefully what you want somebody to buy. For example, these earrings, are they not fabulous? I think they're fabulous. They're big. They are 1970s vintage black chandelier earrings. And that was the name that the website I found who sold the exact same pair for $110 gave them. I personally couldn't sell them for $110 because I think that term vintage is a really loose term. A lot of people apply it to anything that's old, even when that they actually mean is retro. Vintage, technically, or a little bit more officially, applies to something that's 50 years old to 100 years old. And if it's older than 100 years, we call it antique. So, neither myself nor these fabulous earrings are technically vintage yet. But these particular earrings are unsigned earrings, and they are very big. And historically, big earrings started being more popular with the hairstyles. If you think about the 1960s and 70s, they did a lot of these updos, and the more their hair was up and their ears were exposed, the bigger the earrings got because they became the thing, the accessory to have. And big earrings were really popular all the way through. Pretty popular. Big earrings are pretty popular, at least what I would consider big earrings, all the way to about back to the 1930s. And think about the 1930s, we're talking Depression time, a little bit later in the flapper time, and they're wearing more hats that cover the ears, so they weren't wearing the big earrings. But during the 1940s and the 1950s, they were wearing, even for everyday outfits, earrings that were like these. I love these, they're so cute. These were actually made in Western Germany. They were very popular at that time. Western Germany, following the war, you know, it was divided into two areas, the Western and Eastern, and the Western was where the Allies were rebuilding their economy. And they needed to find things that were cheap to build, and costume jewelry was one of the things that they were able to build cheaply and to ship out. And a lot of women were actually working in the industry because look how delicate, intricate these are. I'll put a picture in there. It would have been really hard for men to make these. But this was one of the areas that helped their economy grow. In fact, another country that was having a similar thing was Hong Kong. Hong Kong also doesn't exist anymore. Well, not like that. I mean, there's still Hong Kong, and it's an independent country now. But they had to, starting in about the 1843, stamp things named Hong Kong because the British were in charge of the area from 1843 to about 1997. My guess, these earrings were made about 1950s because that's when the communists were taking over China and so many people were leaving communist China, especially businessmen, to move to Hong Kong and start a new life over there. In fact, by the end of the 1950s, there were over 300 plastic companies in Hong Kong itself, which is 300. That's quite a lot. the more I'm learning about vintage jewelry and the history that goes with them, the more exciting they are. For example, well, I don't know if this is great, but it's interesting to me. Have you ever wondered why Grandma has so many screwbacks and clips on her earrings? I always wondered why that, because Grandma's ears weren't pierced. I'm like, why didn't they get pierced? Well, back early when women started wearing earrings for historical fashion, well, not for fashion, historically, they would make earrings that were big, but then they would have like extra loops to hold them over their ear, or maybe even attach them into their hair. And that was so that they didn't lose them and they didn't pull in their ears, because they're pretty big and expensive things and they wouldn't want to lose something like that. But somewhere around the 1900s, in American society, it became less respectable to have your ears pierced, because the established American society no longer wanted to be associated with those European immigrants that were coming to our country with their ears pierced. Does anybody else think about the speeches? Just saying. Anyway, it wasn't until about like the 1960s or 70s that they started having piercing parties. Think about Greece. You know, when they had Sandy and they had the party where they're having the piercing party and Sandy's getting her ears pierced. Look at me, I'm Sandra D. Well, those people are crazy. They'd get a needle and some ice or a potato. You're crazy. I went to the mall because I was an 80s kid and I had my ears done professionally at the mall, where I promptly passed out in front of my friends. It was a lot easier when I got the second set done when I turned 40. But anyway, I'm going to add some links down at the bottom so you can learn a little bit more about the history of earrings. And I'm also going to put some pictures in of my beautiful unsigned babies. And next week we're going to go and I'm going to go back to the dishes again, because I really like that whole made in idea and the stamps. But meanwhile, have fun and I'll see you later.